So, did this movie happened? Now the question is this movie the best on-screen adaptation of a video game? Short answer, no. But we're going to get into why and what this movie does right in this video. So, let's get this terrible party started.
The world was on fire, no one could save me but you.
What's going on, guys? Kinatonic here, and I'm a large fan of video games. Video games give you a sense of escapism that when a book or comic book can't. A video game is always there to take you away from where you are. And so naturally, when I found out there was going to be a Need for Speed movie, I was worried. Simply because for the longest, Need for Speed did not have a story, and even now, not every Need for Speed has a story. I mean, like the last one came out, Need for Speed Rivals. I don't think that had a story at all. Neither did Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, my personal favorite Need for Speed. But this one did, and there were a couple things I was worried about. Of course, one, the fact that they were going to try to slap a story on this, and two, I was worried about people trying to compare this movie to the Fast and Furious franchise. But you know what? I went to see this movie with an open mind, and I wasn't all that disappointed. I mean, let's face it, there are movies based off of games that just take the name and flip you off. Some of these movies include Max Payne, Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, and any and all of the Resident Evils. I mean, honestly, how do you mess up a movie based off a game about shooting up zomzoms? That's like day one film school. It's not, but come on. And then with Max Payne and Street Fighter, did you even look at the game? Do you know anything about the game? Evidently not, because it is very apparent in the crappy movie that you pushed on people. And it's even more insulting that Max Payne made more money than Need for Speed. It has to be because of Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis. That's it. It has to be. Because, it was just bad. It was bad. It hurt my feelings. But then on the other side of the spectrum, there are movies that at least come close to the game. Great example of this would be either of the Silent Hill movies. Now, while they weren't just straight up game to movie, they at least came close. At least came close, especially Silent Hill Revelation. I mean, flipping, when I saw Pyramid Head, I lost all my faculties. Like I lost my mind. I lost my mind. It was all over the theater. I was like, "What? How do you what? Whoa!" And it had some of the other monsters in Silent Hill too. I mean, it didn't do the game, but at least I felt some sort of nostalgia looking at some of the creatures I like shooting up on the screen. At least it had that. At least. Wasn't a good movie, but man. Then you have Assassin's Creed Lineage. Now, I do realize that this movie was made by Ubisoft, so they pretty much weren't going to mess it up. But it is a movie, and it is based off the Assassin's Creed, mythos, legend, plotline, whatever you want to call it. Now, it's only about 45 minutes long, but it was still good. I got it for Christmas, or my birthday. A, a holiday is when I got this. And yes, my birthday is a holiday. Get on my level. But is an example of a good movie based off a game. I mean, I didn't feel that I wasted my time looking at it. And whenever I look at it, it makes me want to play Assassin's Creed 2, which is good. But the question was, is Need for Speed the best on-screen representation of a game? And no, it is not. That award goes to Halo Forward Unto Dawn. Now, and you've seen this movie. If you're not a Halo fan and haven't seen this movie, you're stupid. And if you're someone that hasn't played Halo, you should still watch this movie. It's just an example of good movie. I mean, it is. It is. It's not too long. It's not too short. There's a pretty good amount of action and an interesting story. And you don't feel lost if you haven't played the games, which is important when you're making a movie based off a game. It's just good to look at. So no, this is the greatest movie adaptation of a game. So that puts Need for Speed in kind of a weird place. It's not the greatest adaptation, but I guarantee you it is not the worst. It's in this weird middle-ish gray area. Because you see, there are jumps in logic that happen in this movie. I mean, jumps against common sense that happen in this movie. But that's kind of with a lot of action movies. And movies in general, from what I've been noticing. But there are moments that happened in this movie that reminded me of things that happened in the game. I mean, there were just moments that happened where I sat and went, "Oh yeah, that looks strikingly familiar." And that's important when you're making a movie based off a game. It really is. And I don't understand why people were comparing it to the Fast series. If every movie based off of cars and racing is going to be compared to Fast and Furious, then we might as well just A, shoot the makers of the Fast series, B, shoot anybody that makes those comparisons, and 3, stop making movies about racing. Because about street racing, because honestly, if you're just going to compare it to that and put the Fast series on a high pedestal, you've lost your freaking mind. It has I'm not saying it doesn't have good action. It has its action, but it can't just be action. Then it would be the Expendables. And it hurts because like the Expendables doesn't even try to have a good story. It has one for the sake of making action. The Fast series tries to have a story and throws action at you, and there's an imbalance, and you just don't care. And on that level, I guess you can compare Need for Speed and the Fast series. But even with Need for Speed, the story feels a little more involved, I guess. Maybe that's because I don't know. It feels like more care went into this movie. I like the lack of CG in this movie. That was very important to me as well. I like the actor. I like Aaron Paul. I looked at a lot of Breaking Bad, and when I heard he was attached to this movie, I was like, yes, this is going to be great. So, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. I recommend you going to see this movie and see it with an open mind. As with any and all movies, with any and all, have an open mind going into it, which is the only reason I'm going to see X-Men Days of Future Past, because I have this open mind philosophy. So, just give this movie a shot. Give this movie a shot. There's a few showings left for this movie at the theaters. If you don't want to go, just wait a few months and it'll be on DVD. But see this movie. Give it a shot. You might be surprised. In the comment section below, let me know the topics that you want to hear in these discussion videos. Follow me on Twitter at KThrice and click the annotations for other videos that I have done. I've been Kenatonic, and I'm glad we had this talk.